If y'all know what this is, keep watching. You're a what?
I'm a big kid. I'm not a baby. I'm not a baby.
You're not a baby?
I'm not a baby. I'm a big kid.
Okay, okay. So Mason decided to come back to the middle school that I had attended. If y'all know what this looks like, this is Alvarado. Holy cow. I haven't been here in years. So I believe that was a band room. I don't have a teacher here. This is where we had ASB and leadership class. This is Miss Bodice. I think that was her name. This place looks much smaller now that I've grown up. We used to have root beer float days and a bunch of other things here. Mason, this is a stage where every Friday they would put on music and we would come dancing here.
And you dance?
And then we dance. And this is where Daddy took his pictures with his friends.
Where's your friends?
My friends aren't here anymore.
Are here?
Yeah, this is where I met my friends. This is where, if I remember correctly, there's a teacher named Mr. Montanari.
Is he a bad guy?
And yes, he's a very bad guy. And he used to have plants here. And whenever we would step on him, he would get mad. I remember getting a referral one time.
Yeah. then he will get mad?
Yeah, then he really got mad for stepping on his plants. This was my very first classroom. I think the teacher's name was Miss Tattersall. That was room 13.
Those are the basketball courts.
Yeah, this is the basketball courts. This is where they used to call Loner Land, along with that area down there.
Did you play here with your friends?
I never played here with my friends. Don't think I had any classrooms here, Mason. Room 21, I had a math teacher at the time. I think his name was Mr. Mills.
He's a very bad guy?
He was a bad guy. He was 6 feet 6. I think he was 6'6". He could have been a basketball player, Mason.
He's a basketball player?
But he decided to become a teacher.
Yeah, but he's a teacher?
He's a teacher now. Okay. All right, this is the cool part. This is where we'd come hang out for lunch.
Then you sit here?
I sat here for a little bit.
Well, with your friends?
With my friends. This area is where all the cool people hang out. This is where all the skaters would hang out. The people with the skateboards?
Yeah.
This is where they would hang out. Look at Mason, come here. That's room 4.
That's room 4?
Yeah, if you were there, that means you were in trouble. You were in big trouble if you were in there.
I wasn't in there.
You weren't in there?
I wasn't in there.
You weren't in there. And then they had some cool little hangout spots. I think when I was here, there was a cool area right here where we would hang out. But looks like a lot of that is gone. I remember this was a spot where there was a campus officer, Bobby Judd, would just post up right here. Then that's room 4 again. That's where you didn't want to be, Mason. I don't know. That's a good question.
He's a bad guy.
He is a bad guy. He's a bad guy. Let's go over here. I think I had one classroom this way. There's a class here. This is, I think what they call Mr. Moreno's class. I think that was like a science class I took. Never came in here. Oh, let's go back this way. I want to show you a very special class. This is Mr. Silva's class.
Is he a bad guy?
He's actually one of the good guys here. that was here. And I think this was his science class. He was a really cool teacher.
But he was a bad guy?
No, he was a good one. Mason, this is where in the summertime people would come and pick up their schedules, and I sat here in a chair one day in the summer of 06.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This?
I had one class here.
Not all of them?
No, right here was Mr. Grelling's class. This is a class where I did a really cool project with my friend Zane and Rebecca, and we got a really high grade in this class.
Did you do a project?
Yeah, we did a project in this class. Over here, I think was a spot where Daddy's friend Philip Chung and I buried a penny when we were younger. And then
Me?
we came back for one day, we eventually found it, and the rest was history.
And then you touched them?
And then I touched the penny.
I'm having a Pokemon school.
You're going to Pokemon school?
Yeah.
Now this is where Daddy met all his friends.
And then you play here with your friends?
This is where I met Zach
Yeah.
and Kenny
Yeah.
and Garrett
Yeah.
and all those guys. Over here was our computer class. Yeah, and this is where Daddy had a class with the guy named Wesley
Yeah.
and Peter.
And Peter?
And Peter.
Peter's your friend?
Peter is my friend. And this is where we had to practice our typing, but in school they don't let you go on YouTube. It blocks out.
Walks out?
So this is where Wesley gave us a cool website that you can go on
Yeah.
and go on YouTube.
And go on YouTube?
I think I had one class here, but I don't remember the teacher's name. This was one of Daddy's favorite class. This was, I think, Mr. Youngerman's class. This is a cool class. This is where I learned social studies and some sort of history. Mason, this is where Daddy would go in and get dressed.
And then you used to shoot basketball?
I used to shoot basketball here. This is where Daddy met Zach and Kenny,
And then you...
and we used to ball them up every day. I think if I remember correctly, it's kind of crazy. I used to be out here every morning at like 8 o'clock on one of these dots, getting ready to start PE. That's kind of crazy. And look at Mason, and that's where...
Look at that park.
That's not a park, that's just a nice field.
But it looks like a park.
That's where we used to have our softball games. We used to play softball over there.
There's soccer?
Yeah, and we played soccer over there. Daddy used to run a mile around that track. Wow, not much has really changed. This is where Daddy played his first home game,
Yeah.
and I think we lost.
Let's go. You want to play baseball? I think before in this spot they used to have like a portable classroom. Yeah, Mason, you remember?
Now that I think about it, I think Mr. Grelling gave me my very first referral for having an untucked shirt. And then I had one of those belt buckles that had a logo on it. Remember y'all, we used to get a referral for that? I don't think any of this was here back then. Over here is where people would line up to get lunch. And they went to go eat lunch over there. And the line would wrap around all the way to here.
And then you can see the food.
Yeah, and then I used to cut people for lunch.
Damn.
Damn, now that I think about it, they made us walk all the way down there to here in 3 minutes.
Let's go get your stuff. Yeah.
I'm sure he's a good guy.
You sure he's a good guy?
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
See you later.
See you later. I'm
Bye.
gonna play baseball.
You can go play baseball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Now that I think about it too, when we had those little Axe cans, those little deodorant sprays, we would get referrals for that too.